3 months ago, something was found on the ocean floor that was never supposed to be found. Not by scientists, not by governments, not by anyone. Because if what was discovered is proven to be real, it could trigger one of the biggest geopolitical crises of this century. And the terrifying part, the clue to all of it was locked away for decades inside a European vault, hidden from the public since the 1940s. This isn't just about history. This is about trillions of dollars sitting underwater. This is about military ships surrounding contested waters right now. And this is about a centuries-old map that some people believe powerful groups tried very hard to keep buried. Because when researchers recently connected a deep-sea discovery to a colonial-era map from the 1700s, the timeline of one of the world's most dangerous territorial disputes started to look very different. Back in 2016, the world watched as an international tribunal delivered a ruling that shocked global politics. Judges declared that massive maritime claims made by a major world power had no legal basis under international law. Cameras captured the moment. News channels everywhere covered it. The response came fast. Officials rejected the ruling completely, calling it meaningless. But only weeks later, something unexpected happened. Researchers working inside historical archives in London found a document that almost nobody expected to see again. One of the most detailed maps of the Philippine Islands ever created during the colonial era. And clearly marked on that map were disputed reefs and shoals labeled as connected to Philippine territory. At first, it might sound like just another old map, but this map was created nearly 2 centuries before modern disputes even existed. And it was drawn by one of the most respected cartographers working in Asia at that time, someone whose work was trusted by ships and naval forces across the Pacific, and the level of detail was undeniable. Not rough outlines, not guesses. Clear markings, named locations, maritime features drawn with confidence and precision. That's when historians started asking a dangerous question. If this document existed all along, why was it hidden overseas for so long? The answer leads back to the chaotic final years of colonial empires. As control shifted and governments collapsed, huge numbers of documents were shipped, sold, or lost. Some ended up in national archives, others disappeared into private collections. Evidence suggests this map was sold to a European collector in the late 1800s. But the details are unclear. Records of the sale are incomplete. No confirmed seller. No clear explanation. Then decades later, multiple attempts were made to buy the map from the collector's family. Anonymous buyers. Huge offers. The family refused. Then shortly after World War II, someone tried to steal it. Not anything else in the building. Just the map. After that attempt, it was locked away in secure storage for decades. And then modern researchers found it again. And suddenly, it mattered more than ever because of what lies underwater in disputed parts of that sea. Energy experts estimate enormous oil and natural gas reserves exist there. Enough to transform economies. Enough to change regional power forever. Exploration attempts began decades ago. But tensions rose sharply when patrol ships and maritime forces began appearing around exploration zones. Survey ships were blocked. Fishing boats were confronted. Diplomatic protests followed. Legal battles started. And that's where historical timelines became critical. Because territorial disputes often depend on one question: who was there first? And who documented it first? If authorities centuries ago were already mapping these waters as linked to Philippine territories, and competing claims appeared much later, that timeline becomes extremely important. Historians also point to missing archives. During major wars in the 20th century, many historical records across Asia were destroyed, stolen, or scattered. Some were returned after the war. Others vanished permanently. Some researchers believe important maritime records may still exist somewhere, in private collections, or locked inside foreign archives. Then came the recent underwater discovery that shocked experts. Marine researchers studying the seabed near disputed zones reported signs of long-term human activity. Not just temporary fishing spots, but possible long-term working or settlement areas dating back centuries. If confirmed through deeper study, that could represent physical evidence of historical presence, something incredibly powerful in territorial disputes. Today, the region is one of the most heavily monitored maritime zones on Earth. Multiple countries patrol nearby waters. Military exercises happen regularly. Global analysts see this dispute as a test of how international law will work in the future. Because if historical evidence and legal rulings are ignored in one case, it could change how disputes are handled everywhere else. At its core, this story is about more than territory. It's about whether history still matters, whether international law still matters, or whether power alone decides outcomes. Documents can be hidden, archives can be destroyed, records can disappear, but physical evidence is harder to erase. Archaeology, geological surveys, ocean research, new technology keeps revealing more pieces of the past. And once evidence is digitized and shared globally, it becomes almost impossible to completely erase. This story is still unfolding. New research is still happening, and every new discovery adds another piece to one of the most complex maritime conflicts in modern history. Because sometimes history doesn't stay buried. Sometimes, it comes back at the exact moment the world least expects it.